Right now at 4, we continue to celebrate the life and legacy of former Miss USA and Charlotte native Chelsie Kryst. She died by suicide on Sunday in New York.
Chelsie Corrine Kryst was born April 28, 1991 in Jackson, Michigan, to Polish-American bodybuilder Rodney Kryst and African-American pageanteer and human resources executive April Simpkins. She was born the second of 4 children to Rodney and April. And with all those children in the house, Cheslie and her family, they were a super close-knit family. Cheslie and her family eventually moved from Michigan to Charlotte, North Carolina Metroplex while she was in grade school. Cheslie's parents would eventually divorce, and her mother would later remarry and give her 2 additional siblings. Cheslie was a super ambitious young lady, using both her mother and her father as her muse along her life's journey. Cheslie's mother and closest confidant, April, would be the second Black woman crowned Miss North Carolina USA in 2002. This pretty much fueled Cheslie's interest in pageantry. Cheslie went to Northwestern High School in Rock Hill, South Carolina, where she was crowned Miss Freshman and later transferred to Fort Mill High School in Fort Mill, South Carolina, where she would become crowned Miss Fort Mill High School and graduate from there in 2009. Cheslie took a hiatus from pageantry to attend the Honors College at the University of South Carolina, where she would study marketing and human resources management. She would also become a standout track star where she ran track for the Gamecocks women's track and field team. Cheslie's love for track had her competing in heptathlons in college, where she became one of 2 people in Gamecocks history to score over 4,000 points and triple jump over 40 feet. Cheslie completed her studies at the Honors College at the University of South Carolina in 2013, where she graduated cum laude. She later took her studies to Wake Forest University School of Law, where she dual majored to become a Juris Doctor, allowing her to sit for the bar, as well as graduating with her Master's of Business Administration in 2017. In an interview with Lawyers Mutual, Cheslie would describe herself as, "My personality is that I don't mind getting into conflict if it's necessary. I don't mind talking to people and expressing my opinion, and I think that people around me trust me to represent them." Cheslie will begin working as an attorney at Poynter Spruill, LLP, where she practiced complex litigation, provided pro bono legal counsel, and she worked alongside Brittany K. Barnett, who is a criminal law reform advocate and attorney, with the Buried Alive project that helps dismantle life without parole sentences that were handed down under federal drug laws. While getting her advanced degrees, Cheslie began trying her hand at pageantry again. Cheslie would compete to win the Miss North Carolina title with the Miss American organization twice, in 2017 and in 2018, before she actually was presented with the title of Miss North Carolina that took her to the 2019 Miss USA competition held in Reno, Nevada. This is where she would eventually win the 2019 Miss USA title. Cheslie would become the oldest woman to be crowned Miss USA at the tender age of 28 years old. Cheslie would say, "The year that I competed as Miss North Carolina USA was my last year of eligibility. And I thought, I don't want to get to the age of 40 and look back and think, if I could have competed, I wonder what would have happened. I didn't want that feeling of regret. I've had that feeling because I didn't try, or I didn't work hard enough, or I just didn't give myself a chance. And I just didn't want to feel that ever again." To also be noted, Cheslie won her 2019 Miss USA title during the most pivotal moment of pageantry history. 2019 will become the first year that all major U.S.-based pageants were won by women of African ancestry. Pegged the trifecta of Black Girl Magic by Gayle King, Cheslie would stand alongside other title holders, Nina Franklin, who was Miss America, Kaylee Garris, who was Miss Teen USA, Zozimbini Tunzi, she was Miss Universe 2019, and this made history. Cheslie would go on to create White Collar Glam, a fashion blog that was geared towards providing working women with avenues to find affordable, appropriate, and professional clothing. Cheslie was an active volunteer for Dress for Success, and she credited herself to being able to learn from her own fashion failures. Cheslie was set out to be a pioneer in the business fashion industry, as she wanted to curate the image of being a fashionable businesswoman that was unapologetic and fearless of wearing her natural hair in pageantries and in the courtrooms. Cheslie was able to navigate herself from being a licensed attorney in 2 states to being a correspondent for Extra TV, where she interviewed and sat alongside a plethora of celebrities.
And you are super fit in this series. I don't know how you eat Hardee's and stay that fit. How many hours do you have to put away at the gym to be in shape for this role?
Never enough, it seems. It took a lot of work to put on 30 pounds for the role.
Oh, gee, 33 pounds. That's how much muscle you put on for the role?
Yeah.
Ironically, during the pandemic, she interviewed multiple celebrities like Gabrielle Union, Dwayne Wade, and Gabriella DeVee on the importance of mental health.
Battles.
Gabrielle, you've been so open and honest about, some of the challenges you've had, your mental health, even suicidal thoughts.
Cheslie spoke with Gabrielle and her husband Dwayne Wade just last year.
What do you say to someone at home who is feeling hopeless and just needs some encouragement?
Take a lot more joy in the journey, but also therapy. Get it and have no shame about it.
She talked with Mary J. Blige about the revelations that she made in her documentary, My Life.
Most of the times I was just depressed and didn't want to live.
You really went deep into mental health, which previously had a really big stigma around it, especially in the Black community.
I had to show people where all this pain came from that was in the My Life album in the first place.
And Taraji P. Henson shared her story about having suicidal thoughts in quarantine.
I started having thoughts about ending it.
Can you tell us how you were able to escape and how you stay positive now?
Well, you take each moment. It's not like I wake up every day and I'm happy, but thank God I'm in therapy. I can now identify when I'm about to start the tip.
In 2020 and 2021, Cheslie received a nomination for Outstanding Entertainment News Program at the 47th and 48th Daytime Emmy Awards shows, due to her position as a New York correspondent for Extra. By the end of 2021, Cheslie was well on her way to making a name for herself in TV journalism. Despite all of Cheslie's accomplishments, Cheslie's world will begin to crash down around her. In the early morning of January 30th, 2022, Cheslie would text her mother, "I wish I could stay with you, but I cannot bear the crushing weight of persistent sadness, hopelessness, and loneliness any longer. I've never told you these feelings because I've never wanted you to worry and because I hope they will eventually change. But I know they never will. I've wished for death for years, and I know you would want to know and want to help." Cheslie would go on to write a note left in her apartment, leaving everything she owned to her mother. Her final Instagram post read, "May this day bring you rest and peace." Cheslie would jump from what is believed to be the 29th floor from an elevated position to her death from her luxury apartment building in Hell's Kitchen, New York. Cheslie's death was later ruled self-inflicted by the New York City Medical Examiner's Office. Cheslie's family would release their first public statement after her death. In devastation and great sorrow, we share the passing of our beloved Cheslie. Her great light was one that inspired others around the world with her beauty and her strength. She carried, she loved, she laughed, and she shined. Cheslie embodied love and served others, whether through her work as an attorney fighting for social justice or as Miss USA and as a host on Extra. But most importantly, as a daughter, sister, friend, mentor, and colleague. We know her impact will live on. Cheslie's mother also noted, "I have never known a pain as deep as this, and I am forever changed."
Tonight, dozens filled a Charlotte church to remember former Miss USA and Queen City native Chelsie Kryst. She died a month ago by suicide. As her loved ones look back on their fond memories with Cheslie, they also took the time to address those who may be struggling with their mental health. Our Shakira Speaks attended that memorial service. Shakira, tell us, what was the atmosphere there like?
Yeah, Ryan, it was very lighthearted. It's only been 19 days since family and friends have seen or heard from their loved one, Chelsie Kryst. Now, although there were tears, there were still some smiles and laughter as they tried to channel their inner Chelsie Kryst.
At 30 years old, Cheslie would still sometimes sit on my lap just to give me a hug. She is forever my baby girl.
Seated in a packed sanctuary, some of those closest to Chelsie Kryst celebrated her life publicly one last time. Dressed in her favorite suit her beloved daughter picked out for her, April Simpkins gave 3 calls to action.
First, take care of your mental health. I've been touched by all the stories you shared with me of choosing to seek counseling. I'm proud of you. And second, you can either take out your phones now or you can do it sometime this evening. But add this number to your contacts, 800-273-8255. For the first name, when you put it in your phone, type help and type suicide prevention hotline for the company.
And lastly, she asked that you honor Cheslie by becoming an ally for a community that needs support, one that you don't belong to or benefit from. During the celebration of life, the executive director for Dress for Success announced a new initiative in honor of Kryst.
We announced the establishment of the Chelsie Kryst Women's Advancement Fund. Because Cheslie was engaged in our full spectrum of workforce development services, from hire to retire, the funds will be used to support the women we serve wherever they are in their employment journey. Because that's what Cheslie did.
As someone who is directly connected to someone who committed self-infliction, grief from this side is so raw. It is real and it is always going to be there. It is a pain that lay in the shadows. And when you think that it's over, it still resonates. It still is there. It is one that you can never escape. It is my deepest prayers that family and friends is able to have a lifetime of healing and understanding and a peace that goes beyond measure. If you or anyone you know is struggling with suicidal thoughts and are experiencing a mental health crisis, you can dial the 24/7 National Suicide Prevention Hotline at 1-800-273-8255 or simply call 911.